Hey, 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 welcome back. Welcome back to the Virgo Channel. My name is Laura. If you're new to my channel, I'm going to do a general message for Virgo. Know that energy is fluid, could be reversed. Just interpret the message as best resonates with you. Also know on this channel and all my channels, I like to dive deep within the reading. So I do look at everything, but we take time to look at the spiritual blocks, the shadows, to see how they play out as karmic themes, to help you understand why everything's playing out the way that it is. Now, these are stories. So again, whether or not this is an experience that you resonate with now or you at one time resonated with, these stories are meant for healing, to teach you how to heal the effects of psychic trauma. Now, psychic trauma is psychological and really emotional, held in the body as stress, but psychic trauma is trauma that we experience that no one else experiences, and it's all internal, and we do shadow healing for that. But what does that exactly look like? Well, it always plays out within the cards, within the theme, right? So, I was meditating before I came on and talking to God in my head and saying, oh, what should we start? I'm so tired of starting the readings off the same way. And Spirit said, I think that a lot of people have gone through so much trauma within their connections that, they need to forgive. And it's such a difficult thing because it's like you really don't want to forgive someone that betrayed you, that hurt you, because there's a perception that they did something, that they took something, that they ruined something. But Spirit says all experiences that happen are divine, and we're like, that was divine. It was like it was the most horrific experience that made me perceive. And God says, well, that's where the wisdom comes. Anything that's able to make you perceive that you're, disconnected from source's power. And source's power is the fact that you have the divine inside of you. So what makes life difficult is that illusion of separation. What does that exactly mean? Well, when we are angry, we get stuck. So Spirit wanted me to just start off with a little forgiveness prayer that you should actually say, so that over time it'll soften your heart. Because if you're seeing the same exact experience play out over and over and over and over and over again, and you're like, I don't know, I'm not doing anything, I'm trying everything to make it change and nothing ever changes, it's the same thing, well, then you're in a stronghold. And understand, negative energies come to you when you're in a stronghold, like with something negative. And negative, because it's the energy that it expels within inside of you, that anger, that resentment, that like, fuck you, understand. And a relationship will do that. A negative relationship will do that. But then there's love, and we're born into sometimes negative experiences. So it's almost like you're damned if you do, you're damned if you don't. So I have a feeling that the reading spirits like wants me to again, that's going to play out within the cards, is going to have something to do with either letting go or forgiveness or something much, much bigger. So we're just going to start off with a forgiveness prayer. I'm not going to lie, I Googled, because, listen, I have the Psalms here, and the Psalms, there's a lot for success and blessings and prosperity and all this, but nothing for forgiveness. And that's probably because it's in a different Psalm book. I also have the other ones. And we want to say Psalms because our words are spells. It works. That's why people are like, again, your affirmations, things that you say, you call it into existence. And a lot of times we got to fake it till we make it. I'm not going to lie. There's just certain people that I have a real hard time of letting go also. So you have to, again, walk the walk. in order to change, in order to like it, because what you're doing is you're freeing your own energy. That's really what you're doing because there's a stronghold on you. So, God, to help us forgive others, prayer is the first place to start when we're seeking restoration and healing. So, dear Lord, I thank you for the power of forgiveness, and I choose to forgive everyone who has ever hurt me. Help me set, and then you put the person's name is, who has offered you, not offered you, offended you, free and release them to you. Romans 12:19. Help me bless those who have hurt me. Romans 12:14. That's an easy one. I like that. Help me bless those who have hurt me. That's all you got to say. So every time you think of that person, you're like, because there's going to be anger, you're going to find that you're ruminating. You have to say that prayer. You just have to say it like it's just a line because you're counteracting it. Right? Because understand a stronghold will keep you and that keep you locked in. And we don't really understand how spirits work, but spirits are all around us. And there's good spirits and there's bad spirits. And the bad spirits are the ones that, when you already have trauma, that's what they go to. And you see those people, they're crazy. It's like a person that gets stuck in anger or a person that needs to control. All that is fear. And fear is connected to that negative energy, those lower beings, spiritual beings, spiritual attachments, discarnates, any like Jezebel spirit, and all the other ones that are connected to the Jezebel spirit. So, and Jezebel spirit, by the way, is one that's all lusty. And when you get into codependent relationships and toxic relationships, that's a Jezebel spirit. So it's hard to forgive. It's hard to let go when you've been in one of those connections, but you have to do it. Spirit saying it's like it starts with prayer. It starts with, you have to recondition yourself. All right, let's see how it plays out. I don't know, but I've been also wanting to start off differently where I'm looking at what do we need to look at for you? Screw the other person right now, like for you to advance within your life, and what could block you, because you're the manifester of your life, you're the alchemist of your life. You can have whatever it is that you want, but what blocks you? Hey, Debbie, what prevents you from moving forward? What gives you that illusion that there's something outside of you? What do you need to do? So we ask the Holy Spirit to guide us in this session. Whoever needs this little message, prophetic message today, I probably don't. I never needed cards. I never needed cards, but I needed a job. So, signs. Spirit says, look for the signs. So wait a second. What do we need to heal, or what do we need to look out for? And then we're going to see. Then we're going to put the message together. Abundance. Da-da-da-da-da. Rest. I'm liking this reading already. Okay. And cleaning. Well, all right. Maybe I got ahead of myself. I actually do like to clean. It's a weird OCD thing with me. But I mean, I don't see how that fits in, but we're gonna see. An open mind and the willingness to entertain new ideas. We've been getting this a lot. All right. And then I'm just gonna pull like these, and then we're just gonna read them. And see, no rhyme, no reason. This is just what you need to look at, your message without your person, without a connection. So Spirit's saying it's like maybe there's a sense of not seeing the money or the abundance again, but it is a year of abundance for you. And because you're not in charge of what you really create, You're allowed to say what you want to do, but you're not allowed to say how you get there. So Spirit's saying, a lot of times when we really want something to happen, we really put 100% in there, and it gets so nervous. And Spirit says, so you need to take time out to rest. There's a sense of wanting it, but when you want it like that, it creates a lot of fear. And Spirit says it's like there's faith. Faith is the bridge that connects you. It's like, so there's a sense of not trusting. And that's when exercise is going to help you. Exercise, a better connection to the physical body, because the abundance, and again, the overthinking, the mind chatter, the mind chatter, the mind chatter, the mind chatter. And that's when you'll fuck yourself. You'll get in your own way. God didn't use the word fuck, I did. But that you understand what I'm saying. You'll get triggered and you'll react, and then you'll be like, where Spirit's saying it's like, slow down, it's happening. You intuitively, because you're led. When the student is ready, the teacher appears. What does that mean? It comes through signs and symbols. Oh, I met that person today, or I saw that sign today, or I watched that commercial and I got that idea. It's a timing thing. It doesn't have anything to do with you. That the universe unfolds in divine time, not your time. And so Spirit's saying it's like, the abundance is coming, but there's also like, you might be finding that you're like cleaning a lot, or trying to, like, a little bit of OCD behavior of trying to control. That energy needs to be channeled into trying new things, being more open minded, and willingness to entertain new ideas. And because it will repel that stagnant energy, and that feeling of lack of growth when you're waiting. Spirit says, it takes time. You plant corn, it doesn't sprout up the next day. But if you were brought up by a parent that was like, come on, all day and tomorrow to do nothing. Any slower, you'd be going backwards. What are you, blind in one eye and can't see out of the other? And all those ways of making you feel inadequate, making you feel so. If you were brought up by that type of parent, which a lot of back in the day, they didn't know any better. They were like, I'll shape you into like being the right type of person, but you were terrified. Like, what the hell? You know what I mean? It's like you would agree to anything, whatever you want, because my life. So Spirit says, so that time you weren't creating yourself. So there's a sense of not knowing how fast things take, and then looking at yourself like through that back lens, where Spirit's saying that's just the way that they were. It didn't mean anything. Spirit says your words have power. This is why, again, Spirit says start with the prayer in the morning. That's the thing. Your words have power beyond the infinite understanding of your planetary mind. So you call everything into existence, and we don't. And so Spirit's also saying, pay attention to how many times you curse, how many times you use negative words. Like, again, like some of us, it's just a habit. Understand, Spirit says that will create negative energy, problems that you're not aware of, because you're not present. Every time you get angry, you lose consciousness. You're no longer in your body. You're actually reflected back to what has happened, what was going to happen, what did happen. So the Spirit's saying, use positive words, again, start the day with a prayer, start the day on, and understand, hey, it's your reconditioning. It's not a one and done. That says this is not a one and done. You're not going to be done like someone else tomorrow. It's that it takes time. Mastery comes in doing. So a lot of times it's like, fuck, I daydreamed through half that prayer this morning. I was there. Oh God, what happened? I don't know. I got sidetracked. I made myself a coffee. I went and pet the dog, and then it's like, oh shit, I went back to it. It's like, because it's not natural. It's a little boring. It's hard to, it's thy, though. I mean, unless you can get something in regular English, it's a change. So it's not going to be a natural thing, you know. And if your scripture is something else, it's still not. A lot of times, it's written in times that were a long time ago. All right. So in spirit saying, leave open the door for the highest potential outcome. Like again, you working and working and working towards your focus, like it's gotta happen, it's not gonna happen, being nervous and then being negative because of it. Well, then spirit saying, understand my plan's better than yours. So that faith walk that I'm asking you to be on, which is real uncomfortable because you're like, already I feel inadequate if things are not happening fast enough. I don't really know. I don't really trust anybody at this point, including myself. And spirit saying, that's why you're reconditioning a lot and healing doesn't feel good. So again, join different things, try different things, get out of your head, is what spirit is saying. This is your message to be successful for to start off, you know, and understand you teach people how you want to be treated by how you're treating yourself. Someone comes into your life, they're going to notice, oh, this person like is very structured, very regimented, and guess what, if they intervene with that, well, it's a boundary. It's like a person can't deal with it, you're not my person. Why? Because you're disrupting my peace. So, and a lot of times a person is going to like, they'll be taken back by it, but, and they might even get mad by it. And then they'll think about it and they'll come back because they're like, you know what? I was being needy. I'm used to these needy women or these needy men that, you know, like once they get in a date, they don't leave your fucking house. They like sit there and they eat breakfast and they're like, oh, getting comfortable, a little too comfortable. And it's like, I don't want you here. It's like, we don't have that type of relationship. Don't make yourself so comfortable. Don't make yourself so comfortable. I have other options. What are you, kid? Crazy? What have you shown me? Nothing. We're not that great, you know, or whatever it is. It's like you have to have that kind of attitude a little bit. Why? Because people get comfortable. And if you're too nice and, oh, I'm going to love you, then they're like, oh, look, like you're stupid. You're naive. And where you have to show people, I'm not naive. This is exactly who you're getting. You better treat me with the respect. Anything forced will not have a good or happy consequence. Like, and so again, when we make people too comfortable, spirit's saying. So, you know, because then all of a sudden you gave so much of your heart and you're saying, well, I'm asking for the minimum. I'm asking for the minimum again to make you feel inadequate, makes you feel small, makes you feel perceived. That's a psychic thing. You psychically attacked me. You try and make me perceive that I'm someone that I'm not. Why? It's again is where again boundary. And the way that you do it where it's organic is that you have other things going on. Be willing to look in the mirror also regularly to embrace the light and the dark, you know, which is look at everything as a whole. You know, it's like, and that's your personal message to be successful. Now let's take a look at your relationship and see what the underlining energy is of today. You know, see if it changed, see if it stayed the same. Who knows? You know, that's the thing when you're dealing with a very imbalanced person, and that's however much wounded, their moods change day to day. Why? Because one day I'm thinking this, the next day I'm thinking that, the next day I'm thinking this, the next day I'm thinking that. So all over the place. So it really does change. Fantasizing. Someone's escaping is what I'm feeling. Patience. You know, it's funny because as much as I want to like start off like nasty, it's like I can't because what I'm feeling like is that a person is like, because I feel like you've been in separation from person for a long time, and it's really making them feel insecure. Or they're in a place of fear because they disrespected you, and they also know that they disappointed you because they were prideful, and they regret that, because they see that you're intolerant, and you're intolerant to people like that abandon you, make you feel not good enough. And the thing is, I feel like you stood your ground, and and where you like didn't take it. And so this person's detached, but they've detached because like where they're not really thinking about what has transpired, even though that's all there unconsciously and they have thought about it. But you've been in separation from this person for a long time, for like a bit now. It's not like hasn't been a day, is what I'm trying to get at. So this person, in order to deal with it, they're in a place of fantasizing. Like, and I feel like this person's detached and they're living more in their mind because there's a sense that you are going to come back. It's like, oh, well, I made you mad, so I'm going to let you like deal with that and you'll come back. And the thing is, what they're seeing is you're not coming back. It's like because all that they want to pretend isn't there, they already know that it's there. But it's like this person's like, well, I took so long like to figure things out, and they created the illusion that their life was better, that they didn't care, and they create a lot of mistrust within this connection. So the underlining energy is like this person is all over the place. They're in a sense of, I still like feel our connection. I still want that connection. I still fantasize about us being together romantically and maybe our future together. It's like about the future, but they're not in their head. And it's like, well, I'm just gonna let you again take the time to, get over yourself, kind of, which is really toxic. And this is what I feel like this person is coming to see, where it's like, wow, that's really kind of like fucked up, which is what, what I did. So I'm kind of also feeling like this person is not in the same position that they were, and when I say position, it's like they're not in a good space. When you met them, they were in a high point within their life. We all have highs and lows and highs and lows. And sometimes we feel like we flatlined for a bit, to be honest with you, where I feel like this person like goes from high to low, high to low, high to low. And now I don't feel like they're in a high place. So the thing is, again, this person had a lot of barriers. Just from past relationships. So they didn't really know how to handle this relationship. So they never really like let it grow because they were too busy like trying to protect themselves. Again, that's what happens when a person, is living from their ego a lot of times, which is what this person did. I feel like they wanted to control the narrative without, looking vulnerable, without seeming like they cared. And understand this person has gotten with people and good people, and played this game. Know that, and good people that have given to them and then not really even felt anything like after this connection. You're like, screw you, that's not going to happen, and it's not going to happen that way, and they have a connection to you. So it's kind of like a little bit of a mind fuck for this person, because it's like, I shouldn't like this person. This person triggers me. This person is trying to control me, which you're not trying to control anybody. You're just trying to being like, I'm not going to let you disrespect me. But it's such a problem for this person because they have to elevate themselves. And they have to elevate themselves again because they're in their ego, where it's all about the passion. It's all about like, they get into relationships and like I said, they get good people to give to them, but it's all about the passion. And then it's here for a good time, not really a long time. And it's very shallow, and it's like it's very intense in the beginning, but then it goes to nothing because it's not built on anything real. It's built on fantasy, which understand this person isn't coming to you and apologizing. Where are they? They're fantasizing and being patient, waiting for you to come back so that they don't have to grow up. But you see how they're not building an emotional connection? Do you see how they haven't done the work? Do they have a connection? Absolutely, but it's not grounded in anything. And this person is used to being the way that they are. So it's a pride thing. So I feel like this person is used to being alone, and like, or even if they are in a relationship, and but they never really take the time to do the healing. And I feel like you might even feel like you're a bit of on a lone path right now if you're connected to this person and being like, well, I do have connection to them, but I'm kind of holding space, even though you don't want to hold space. That's why I said do that prayer, because a lot of times it's like I'm pissed off at the way that you treated me. It's like, and like now you're avoiding and waiting for me. How dare you? It's like, how dare you? It's a way that this person tries to hold on still, and where that all they're doing is wasting time. Tick tock, and that's what they do, because this person is someone that's wild at heart. Like when they got into the relationship, and here it is, you're like, I don't care whether you're with me or not. Do you know how appealing and sexy that is? Do you know how, like, the fact that this person cannot emotionally manipulate you, and how it makes them feel safe, and how they're like admire it and they see it, but they haven't done the healing. See, they're learning from you, but they need to embody the actual energy, you know, because you would never be happy because this person is childish. And that's the thing. We're going to look at the spiritual cards, because even though they acted like this, you know, what do they feel on a spiritual level? Because there's always a spiritual reason why things happen. Now, sometimes it's just the person gets feelings, which understand if there was a lot of trauma where they detached, they were numb, and they choose to stay numb. That's why the addictive behavior, and addictive behavior is here for a good time, not a long time. It's where there's all so intense and love bombing, and we fantasize and go, and then it's done. It's not a healthy or normal like thing at all. Okay. So as you surrender your 3D expectations, I surrender to our 5D connection. So the irony is that this person has a very strong 5D connection to you, right? That's in that psychic connection, but they're like, but you expect me to do XYZ. You want me to be this way, and and you're very rigid on it, so to the point that this person's like, it triggers them. So they're like, you want me to surrender to this spiritual connection, but what it does is it makes this person feel really insecure, which came up before. And but understand they were insecure before you made them feel insecure. This just is bringing it out, but it's pushing them to grow because you're not moving. And spirit says, don't move. This person says, neither one of us being honest right now. Why are we afraid to express ourselves? Because it's like, you're like, I'm not afraid to express myself. I'm just not going to give you shit, because you need to show me. I don't need to show you do anything. I don't know what I just said, but you got what I said. And it's like this person is like saying like, well, what am I doing? At the end of the day, what am I doing? I'm holding myself back. I'm punishing this person. Why am I punishing this person? And so this person like is seeing, while they're not really strong within themselves, they give too much power away to like people in their life. And that could be family, it could be other people, it could be their boss. It doesn't need like it to even be like a karmic person, because I don't even feel that. I just feel like this person's not strong within themselves. And what happens is that if they have one friend and they give all their time to, well, then that one friend eventually takes advantage, because it's like, well, you're needy. So I feel like I'm entitled. Understand that's the thing this person doesn't give. So when they actually do, they wind up getting hurt. And spirit says, the same divine energy flows in each of you. This energy is a catalyst for reunion. You both need to allow this energy to work its magic, because eventually you guys will go get back. Like, again, the universe will conspire. If you're thinking about this person's thinking about you, the universe will bring you back together. You'll run into each other. That's not the issue. And it's not the issue that this person wouldn't be like, oh, I'm passionate about you and be nice to you. Because again, is this spiritual connection. There is, but we're not looking at the wounds here. This is why we never predict the future, because somebody would be like, yeah, they're coming back, but they're coming back. I care about you even when I act like I don't. I'm hiding my true feelings because I feel vulnerable. I'm struggling with codependency and I'm afraid to let go of my old coping mechanisms. So that's really what I'm trying to tell you. It's like this person does have passion, they do have a connection, but it's your whole expectation. No, 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 no. It's not the expectation. It's that this person needs to grow up. It's pushing them to grow. But hey, they're coming across stumbling blocks. And the stumbling blocks is that I have codependency issues. That could be drinking, it could be drugging, it could be something that you would not approve of. It could be gambling, it could be anything, excessive shopping, it could be anything that would sabotage the connection, right? And giving too much power away to people, the few people that they have in their life, like, so if they're at work and that's where they get their emotional fulfillment from, well, guess what? Now everyone treats them like the slave, and so this person is afraid to be vulnerable because, hey, look what they create. Everybody that they, or is in their life eventually doesn't treat them well. So this person thought that they were going to treat you not well. And really, it was afraid, they were just afraid to get that emotional connection, because that's that second chakra, which is all about your unique individuality, who you perceive that you are. It's balance. And this reading started off with this person had issues from past relationships, nothing that happened with you. They never healed. So they were very codependent, is what I feel. It's like, so codependent means I have one person and they usually don't have any friends, and they don't really have that many hobbies, or if they have friends, they don't stay in their life very long. They're not really deep friends. They're more like on the surface. And so spirit's saying that's the issue. It's like this person is in their ego, but like I said, making them grow, but they have to deal with that. Now, will they deal with it? And spirit says things change and you're not supposed to sit and wait, so understand that. But we're going to look anyway, even though the spirit says, well, that's irrelevant, but inquiring minds want to know, and then what we'll do is, and I'm not going to do a big tarot reading. I'm just going to look like, it's like they're not going to even, they're going to be like a little bit, their natural behavior is to be sneaky, but it looks like they're going to, again, it's going to try to change their ways, but they're still going to be really on guard, really defensive, really not feeling safe. So it's like, and just still will have the devil. So I don't feel like them changing. They're going to try, but it'll never be what it should be, which is why you cannot take this person back because they didn't do the work. And that's what I felt right from the beginning. Your spirit said that's why you didn't need to pull those cards, those devil cards. That's what the Holy Spirit said. But it's like I said, I just was curious. I wanted the backup confirmation. And I only trust in you, Jesus. Okay. So don't take the person back. Don't. Because if you're out there, because that type of reading, you know, if this is resonating with you, well, it's more about your healing. Because spirit saying, like, this would only bind you to pain. This would, like, again, this would be a stronghold, which is like why you need forgiveness. Because a lot of times that holding on because you're angry at a person is like you can over time think, well, let's give it another go because I really love you and I can't let it go. And spirit saying, no, this is more about your healing. And we're going to look at your healing then because that's what it's about. That's what spirit says. All right, let's see what your inner child wounds are, and then let's see what the sacred wounds are, and then a message from the Holy Spirit. So let's see. We're just gonna pull random cards out. Okay, let's see. What did spirit pick? Okay, unworthy. This card doesn't belong here, but I'm gonna doubt, safety and security, imagination, inner authority, misunderstood, play, and discipline. So I feel like you did grow up in an environment where you were talked to. It's like it was like made to feel not good enough, made to feel inferior, made to feel that way. And sometimes we feel unworthy due to just maybe seeing that we're different. We feel that we're different. And I say that because it's like got misunderstood. So it's like people take me the wrong way. It's like I'm a very spiritual person, but people project, their negative energy onto me. So understand if you grew up in an environment where your parent was like kind of bullied by with their words. Remember, words are vows, and vows become negative covenants. We're supposed to have good, healthy covenants with our relationships, that built on trust and honesty and love. But when the words are, nasty every day, well, then you enter into a negative covenant. And that's when you can, attract those negative entities where now you doubt yourself because, well, everybody else makes me feel that there's something wrong with me because they take me the wrong way. Where spirit says, again, that's the price of being different. That's the price of being authentic. It's again where everybody at first they protest it and they're angry, and then or first they're mocking you, laughing at you, thinking you're crazy. Then they again get angry, and then they're copying because that's how it normally goes. So spirit's saying, let people misunderstand you. The problem is that you never felt safe. You never got that security. Growing up in an environment, if you're made to feel unworthy, it never feels like home. and it feels like, or it just doesn't feel like it's home. And understand you could have even inherited that feeling of unworthy if your parents felt that they were unworthy, like life was difficult, like they struggled financially, they struggled within their relationship, they had problems, and we inherit those ancestral um, covenants, which which are, if they're like fractured, and that you're going to see codependency, you're going to see addictions, you're going to see emotionally abandonment, you're going to see that the parents aren't grounded enough in source. So, like, again, they become dependent on outside things like alcohol and, again, whatever it is. And here it is, you attracted somebody that has very similar energy, as what the spirit says for some of you, collective reading. So, but that safety and security is that it's not that your parents didn't try, they tried, but they tried with, when there's, problems, you try to do the best that you can do, but you're stressed out because financially, you're stressed out because of the relationship. So any little thing that you need or whatever, now it's like, oh, it's a problem. And that's why you feel unworthy, because it's like, all I needed was pens or whatever. And they're making like it's such a big deal, where it's that it wasn't meant to be, it was stress. But Spirit says it made you become very intuitive, where it's like, well, I can't depend on these people. I got to do it myself. I got to listen to myself. And Spirit says, yeah. And that again gave you psychic ability, Spirit saying, because hey, that gut, that intuition, that inner knowing is what guided you. The Holy Spirit is what guided you. So Spirit saying, so life unfolds while you're on it. You were safe. However, you never disciplined yourself enough. And that could be, again, when we grow up in trauma and are made to feel unworthy, we tend to try to get our emotional happiness from outside things. So there's still a sense of inadequacy, or like, why am I here? Or why does this happen? And so Spirit's saying, instead of going out and playing, see, children go out and they find themselves. Be like childlike. In the Bible, it says that, because children don't say, oh, that's just a box. They say they go out, they don't know what they're venturing out for. They just are, and they're by themselves in the beginning. And then they see things on the street, maybe in the garbage, they see things, then they call for their friend, and then an adventure unfolds, where Spirit's saying, you need to, like, you weren't really allowed to do that. If you were made to feel unworthy, you were made to feel you lived more sheltered, you lived more safe. It didn't mean you didn't like have that inner authority, but that was more for survival purposes. Well, gotta make sure that I eat, gotta make sure that I get the schoolwork done, gotta look after my brother, gotta do this, gotta do that, gotta do this. So Spirit's saying there wasn't enough play. And if there was, it wasn't consistent in creating yourself. When we look at prodigies, we say, oh, when they were 3, they started painting. When they were 1.5, they were dancing. That's when they started dancing. I mean, and then they're like, by the time they're 12, they're amazing. Hey, that's 12 years of dancing, and as the body is changing, it's being trained. So of course they can do things that you can't, just the same as a painter. Well, mastery comes in doing. Every master starts off as a disaster, usually too, but it's something that you love, and we're here to be the energy of love by giving and receiving of love, by doing what you love. You embody that energy, and then you're making that third eye open to be able to see the opportunities and things that are you can actually have. But knowing that you're worthy of it is very important. And this was a sign, like, that maybe I'm not worthy of it because of that past feeling of, right, I've always kind of felt unworthy. And Spirit says, because you used that energy to survive, not to create yourself. Those are gifts, you know. the path happens while you're on it. Spirit said, hey, you got to look for the signs and symbols. Hey, you have the gifts, you have the third eye that's open. That's how your reading started, the signs and the symbols, that everything's happening in the right way. But you need to forgive, you need to let go, you need to, again, and understand why that happened. And then obviously, what do you need to integrate? And then how are you going to transmute that negative energy? Loneliness wound. So again, it shows up as deep feelings of isolation, disconnection, or longing for meaningful relationships. And obviously, if you were made to feel unworthy and there was a loner energy, which you did pull, by the way, and there was so much psychicness of inside, being inside yourself, living inside yourself, which is, by the way, why you and this person have very strong ESP connection. Well, Spirit's saying is you need to, again, and understand it's because of a lot of unmet needs from the past. So again, that focusing on that instead of creating yourself, where Spirit said, remember, it goes back to the beginning of what you need to do for 2026. And if you don't remember, then rewind. And then Spirit says, alienated wound. Like, again, I feel alone. I feel like there's something wrong with me. I feel like, again, that energy, loneliness wound, alienation wound, like I'm not good enough. I feel unworthy. I feel, and Spirit says, you have to become yourself. And so it shows up as feeling as disconnected from others, a sense of being misunderstood. You pulled that from childhood, remember. And so, and believing that you don't belong. You manifest as isolation, difficulty forming relationships, or withdrawal, often rooted in past rejection, neglect. So, again, this is a reoccurring karmic loop that Spirit is saying, hey, this has been going on for a while. It doesn't mean that people don't come into your life, but they may not stay. And you may feel like, well, is that because of me? Sometimes being too nice and going along with everything is just as bad as being like as abusive. Not saying it's bad like as in, hey, that was a bad thing, but the what you're going to manifest is going to be just as bad, because there's a feeling of unworthiness, a feeling, again, of not belonging, because again, you're different. And so Spirit says it's about becoming yourself. It's about being proud of who you are. And that a lot of times takes reconditioning, reconditioning, better connection to the body, right? If we don't feel good in our body, well, that's where we need to start. So getting into an exercise program, doing breath work, being interactive with other people. Just saying you're always going to have more psychic and spiritual gifts than you are going to be like grounded person. But we can balance it out better. Otherwise, you're always going to pull people to you that are really grounded, have no spiritual energy, and then they're too much in their ego. And then you're like, okay, why am I always felt to be made feel unworthy? And Spirit says, this person, again, they can't give to anybody, but you already had that. So that's what needed to be looked at. Not that you're deserving of it, but you don't need to alienate yourself. You need to get more grounded. That means join things, try things. I mean, part of the identity is missing. If you were made to feel unworthy, that's not your identity. Spirit says, join something. That goes back to the beginning. It's again of the reading in order to heal. And then again, worthiness wound. Okay, we're getting all the same shit. It's the same thing. I'm not good enough. I don't belong. I alienate because of past experience. Spirit says, hey, this is a grounded thing. This is, again, today's a new day. You know what I mean? And you join things that you're interested in, that inspire you. Even if it's online, Spirit's saying the emotional connection is what is needed. It's otherwise, then there's a sense of, when's my shit gonna happen? When's my shit gonna happen? And Spirit says, don't rush me. Don't my plan's better than yours. You need to leave room for my plan. Hey, that's in the beginning of the reading. Spirit says, let it go. Take a time out. Take a chill pill. You're not in charge unless you want mediocre, because mine's going to be a lot better. It's like trust issues, a feeling unworthy and feeling so the lack of connection, emotional connection. So the spirit saying, join things. Like there's again, people make friends through that, through being horrible at the tango. If you want to take dancing, or if you always wanted to be a lawyer, or if whatever it is that you want, that you join things, you join clubs to try things, join Toastmasters, and you can pretend that you're in court. You know what I mean? It's like Spirit says, I don't care how you get there. You have to utilize what's in the physical world to become yourself and understand everything that's in the physical world is like it's a broken structure. Just like that box that kid said was a playhouse. Well, once it rained once or twice, that box was gone. And Spirit said, so it was for the now, for the moment. These broken structures are temporary. Is again, master it. And when the student is ready, the teacher appears. God says, please don't do my job. Look for the signs and the symbols. That goes back to the beginning of the reading. Again, the signs and the symbols are guiding you. That's how you have a relationship with God. Otherwise, you don't have a relationship with God. And there's a lack of trust and feeling, I don't belong. I'm not good enough. Where God says, I don't make anything that's like that. First of all, that's a you thing. A me thing is you become the energy of love, and you look for the signs and the symbols along the way to help create yourself, and anything that's going to, again, make you question, which is this person. And that's not because they don't care, but love is not enough. A person has to change. Otherwise, you inherit their karma. And Spirit says, and now there's a transmutation process, which is how should you embody a new consciousness? You just can't leave it like this. Okay, I know what I have to do. Spirit says, like not so fast. It's like the healing is a process, and it's not just joining things. It's about learning to love yourself, to do the shadow work, to integrate those spiritual blocks, to integrate all facets of yourself. And what we discussed, it was within that second chakra, that first and second chakra. So Spirit's saying, again, getting more grounded, connected to the physical body, the physical world, all physical elements of the physical world is what needs to be looked at. Support. Again, that comes through friends and joining things and being interactive. Create a sacred space. That doesn't mean being out all the time. It means finding your balance. You have to tap into the higher self. The higher self is God, part of self. Remember, the Holy Spirit's inside of you. You're safe. You have to, again, take time out, reflect on what's going on inside of you, and apply that knowledge. That's why, again, you're never alone. But the illusion of separation is what creates that. So again, you got to take the sacred space and understand you are on the right path, even though the path is not showing itself, because God says it's a faith walk. You're not in charge. And again, it's because it's weird because you're creating your own way. So you're like, I don't know, is it wrong? Am I doing the wrong things? Because like you already were made to feel that way. So you're looking for problems. Take the time out. Again, meditate. Doesn't mean you're going to get all the answers when you're meditating, but you recondition your nervous system. And then what'll happen is when you're washing the dishes, intuition. When you went to the, water cooler at work, intuition. You weren't thinking about what you wanted to know about. You had put it on the back burner, but you are in a more calm and relaxed theta state again, which is this relaxed state. Most people are so wound up so tight. that you don't know what you feel anymore. You're just numb. And so Spirit's saying, everything is fine. Don't look for problems. Don't do my job. Do your job. Be like childlike. Unless you want mediocre. Mediocre, right? Because my plan is so much better than yours. So don't force anything. If it's forced, it's not going to be liked. And that goes for business too, not just, relationship. But there's a sense of, oh, like it's such an uncomfortable space because I'm still, and you know why Spirit says, because once you manifest, how you manifest is how you transmute that negative energy. You ground it. So you're kind of like in prep time where it's like everything's gonna happen. Please don't do my job. Take a fucking back seat. It's again, take a rest, take a chill pill, meditate, join something. Again, what kind of identity are you gonna have? It's again, where's the support coming from? Why I'm feeling more isolated? Because all that energy needs to be transmuted. It gets transmuted by becoming yourself. And you're like, yeah, and I'm waiting for you to do it, God. And God says, well, slow your roll. It's like everything's happening in divine time. Don't rush it. Don't, everything's fine. You're on the right track. It feels wrong. God says that's just your energy because you look for problems, because someone made you feel inadequate, because someone made you feel that way. So understand you haven't changed that energetic template once you go through the new experience. Well, then you're like, well, then I have a reference point. You don't have a reference point right now. And the Spirit's saying, again, goodness. You refine your character and overcome your difficulties by remaining positive. Calm your heart and illuminate your intellect to transform shadow into light. You consciously manifest goodness in and around you. And you improve the qualities for the benefit of all, which is, again, your good. Spirit saying. It's like this is where you're supposed to be. It's like it just feels uncomfortable because it's like, oh, it's taken so long. And it's like, what if this happens? What if that happens? And that's trained behavior. And that's, again, was inherited. It's like because they were not taught from a spiritual perspective. They were taught from a dogmatic perspective that God was something that lived outside of them. When really God's like, I'm everywhere. The air that you breathe, I can do life, but I'm also everywhere. Again, always making sure that you are getting everything that you need to help you revert to your God given energy, the energy of unconditional love. So if you were born into, again, like problems where there was anger and how they were talked or generational things or even cultural things, well, Spirit's saying it's what the family held on to. No, there was no perfect structure. Only I am perfect, God says. And when you become the energy of love, you get to experience that perfect. But it's usually by becoming yourself first and then getting the relationship. And that's why having this person come in before you manifest something or even right after is not a good thing. That's why Spirit's saying, because they haven't done the work. And so that that's always, the devil always comes when you're about to give birth, meaning birth something, manifest something that good for you, take you into a new place, that a new world for yourself. So the Spirit's saying it's, again, be patient, again, stay on track, and everything is going accordance to where it needs to be. It's just an uncomfortable feeling, but that's a you thing. God says, I didn't make you that way. I just want you to know that. But we're restoring you. We're in the process of restoring you, and that's an uncomfortable thing because healing never feels good. All right, I'm going to leave that there. If anyone has any questions, don't hesitate to ask me. I want to thank everybody that's been supporting the channel and supporting me and through this journey, and letting me express how healing is. It's all about healing the effects of trauma because it can restore your life. and it's psychologically, it's emotionally, and it really is transformational. Thanks again. Can you do Aries next? Next, please. You know what? I don't really do zodiacs, to be honest with you. I mean, I do have this as a channel, and I have a like different zodiac channels, but I don't really like tap into a zodiac. I'm not gonna lie. I'm actually changing all the banners. I asked because as I go more into my faith, I don't really want to go zodiac. I feel like, hey, if the message resonates, it resonates. And if it doesn't, it doesn't. It's a story. It's a story that you may resonate with, and the information is like a class, but it's a class where you can take the information. So I am in the process of changing all the banners. Thank you so much, Soulful Gangsta. I like your energy too. I like that title. um, but I am in the process of changing all the banners just because, like I said, I'm not really into the zodiac. I know nothing really about them. I am a Virgo. However, I have a tremendous amount of Scorpio in my chart. So and Gemini is also in there. So I'm a good speaker, and. See, I know, but that's the thing. That's normally how it works. People follow their zodiac. But like I said, I just kind of feel like the message always goes to who needs to hear it. That's the way that the universe works. So a lot of times I'm not a zodiac, but I'll like catch somebody else's like channel and I'm like, wow, I resonate with it. And that's the thing. So you might really have Virgo energy. Who knows? I don't know. Like I said, but I do know that everything's intention. So if I say, well, it's for Virgo, you're going to. But I have to say, I say that mainly because it started however many years ago as a Virgo channel. But as I again dive deeper into my studies, my Christian studies, I'm just like, well, I don't really resonate with a lot of the new age stuff as much as I did. And the reason why is because it's not concrete. Oh, the scripture to forgive. Yeah, that easy. There was there was an easy one. And that was, I have a bunch of them here. So help me walk in righteousness, peace, and joy, demonstrating your life here on earth. No, that was too long. Um, where is it? I thank you for the power of forgiveness, and I choose to forgive everyone who has ever hurt me. You could say that one, or help me, and then you say the person's name that has offended me to and to help me to free and release them to you. Help me bless those who have hurt me, or help me walk in righteousness, peace, and joy, demonstrating your life here on earth. Or I choose to be kind and compassionate, forgiving others, just as you have forgiven me. Kind of like that one the most. Oh, again, like you gotta like, oh, I have Romans 12:19, Romans 12:14, or Ephesians 4:32. So you can do either one of those. Again, Romans 12:19, Romans 12:14, and Ephesians 4:32. However, I have to say, you can look at the Psalms too. Psalm 36 is a good one. So there's like, or you could just Google it. You know what I mean? Like I Googled that. That's the like what I got because I asked Spirit like about 3 minutes before I was sitting meditating, and then like right before I said, oh, what should I talk about today? And Spirit says a lot of people are still stuck and they need to like learn how to forgive because they have a stronghold on them. And so I said, well, I don't have a prayer. And Spirit said, Google it, but you should know that. And I know I should know that, but I have such a poor memory from the trauma that I experienced growing up. I have sluggish cognitive tempo, which is a form of ADHD where I don't have my memory is like so bad, and it always has been. It's like that, and it made school really difficult because you have to remember everything, and it's like, but spirit uses my mind to again channel these messages. So for a long time, I felt inadequate, unworthy. As a master healer, know that I went through everything that you experience. I've went through, and I learned, and I share my knowledge with you. And but again, my path started as a psychic medium, and the more that I learn, it's more prophetic insights. And it is spiritual advising. It's just it has always been rooted in scripture. It's always been rooted in God. It's just an unconventional way of teaching because I didn't have the education or the knowledge. But what I'm finding is that it's very helpful, to people. It's very healing and it's very helpful because the knowledge, people don't know how to apply the knowledge to their life. If you can apply scripture to your life, you can actually transform your life. But we have to see how it plays out. And you can see within the stories how it plays out. So I thank you guys for letting me do your readings. Okay, yes, trying to release this energy. You don't want, well, yeah, not, it takes time because it's a habit. Because remember, you have to replace it with something. You can't just get rid of him. You have to replace it with something. Alchemy teaches you that. You have to transform that negative energy. And that's why Spirit's saying, and it's always through something emotional, especially when it's a person that you have an emotional connection to. You can't really break that connection unless are going to transform it. Otherwise, it's almost like trying to quit smoking and not having something. Like people that quit smoking, they're like, well, now what am I going to do? So they have a piece of gum, they have sucking candy, they do something to like counteract that urge. Well, that's pretty much what it is. You can train yourself to love somebody. And that's why I'm saying this reading was good for you, Debbie. I think, knowing you personally, I'm sure it was good for the other people too. All right, I'm gonna go because I need to run to the bank. But until next time, be true to you, love yourself. Remember that, because the kingdom of heaven's inside of you. If you can imagine it, you can create it. And it's just up to you. Just stay around the positivity. That's good. Thanks, Debbie. All right. And thank you, everyone, for sharing your energy with me. Until next time, be true to you. I'll talk to you soon. Bye bye.